Welcome to Oxford High School Community Room, the school committee meeting of the Oxford Public Schools, Monday, June 28th, 2021, 6 p.m. This meeting can be viewed live stream on the Oxford Public School Facebook page. Also, a recording of this meeting will be archived as soon as possible on the Town of Oxford YouTube channel. At this point, I would like to call the meeting to order. We do have a change in our public comment order now moving forward during school committee meetings. So if anybody is in the public in front of us right now, I am going to open the floor for public comment. Comments are limited to the topics in the agenda this evening. So the floor is open for public comment. Seeing and hearing no one from the public, we are going to close the floor for public comment. We do have meeting minutes of June 14th, 2021, a regular meeting. We have those to approve. Any comments or questions about the meeting minutes? If not, we do need a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second that.
All right. No discussion prior, so we'll just call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
I'm a yes, 5 yes. Recommended business. We do have to make a few appointments. 3 of them are for our new superintendent who will be taking over July 1st. So we do need a motion to appoint Mr. Mike Lucas to the Board of Directors for the Central Mass Collaborative. We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, a second.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Seeing and hearing one, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5 yes. No, 0 no's. We also need a recommendation to have Mr. Lucas be part of the Board of Directors, the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative, known as SWEC.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
I'm a yes, 5 yes. And we also need to have Mr. Lucas become our homeschool application approver, authorized approver.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
I'm a yes, 5 yes. And we also need to have a motion to have Merrick and O'Connell be our district legal counsel for the FY 2022. Is there any discussion, comments?
I'd like to make the motion.
Okay, there was a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the
All
motion.
right. Seeing and hearing no comments. Oh, yes.
Just one, I'm assuming that we're still keeping our same
Yes.
counsel for special ed.
Yes, Stillman, Chandler, and Miller.
So is that something that we need to put on the agenda to approve as well, or
Have you done
can we approve that
We've
now?
never done that separately. We've only revoted general legal counsel.
Okay.
You can.
Should I make a motion that we also approve them as
Well,
our?
it's not on your,
Okay,
Yeah, it's
on
not
our
on here, but we
future-
can put it,
future-
you can
yeah,
put it on the next
future
one.
business.
That's a good point. Thank you, Dr. Nash.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Griffin. Any other discussion? We got American O'Connell, so there was a motion, a second. No more discussion, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
I'm a yes, 5 yes, and we will add special ed attorney to the next meeting. All right, subcommittee study groups. Let's go to Mr. Nugent. If you could come forward, Mr. Nugent, Oxford High School Gymnasium floor court design. If you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Good evening. So I did share with you in your packets a survey and then the proposed artwork that we'd like center court. As you know, the town approved to refurbish our gymnasium floor after about 20 years. And
Mr. Nugent, can I just have you pause for a second? Do we have microphones?
No.
So are they gonna be able to hear, so the boom will be able to pick up everybody? Okay, just wanted, I noticed he didn't have one, and I'm like, wait a second, we have microphones? Okay. Sorry about that.
Good evening. So in your packet, as you guys know, that we do, the town approved our basketball floor to be refurbished, first time in 20 years. So attached to my memo is the artwork that we would like to have in center court put down. We did send a survey out, small return, but of the return, about 80% like that. This rendition has been used by the football team, I know, for 7 years. It's been on our helmets for 7 years. The cheerleaders have T-shirts with this. It's on our new basketball chairs for the basketball and volleyball games. And it's a sharp-looking piece of artwork that really doesn't put a gender on who we are. I mean, we're pirates, and pirates can mean different things to different people.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I'd
Yes,
just
go
like to
ahead.
make a comment. I do appreciate you putting in the answers for the people who didn't like it, because I
Yep.
think it was interesting just to know that, so thanks for
Yep.
attaching that.
Yep.
I like it.
Anything else from the board? Quick question, Mr. Nugent.
Yep.
So the beautiful letterhead that you put this on has the pirate up in the left-hand corner. Are we going away from the pirate across the whole, any other letterheads? I don't know if other schools use it. Are we adopting this as a?
So, I mean,
Just
I think that could be a conversation for a future meeting, but I would say that would be my vote to do that. Again, to not totally phase out the pirate. The trouble with the pirate is that depending on what vendor our teams can get for their swag or their merch, if you will, I mean, it's a different pirate. We own this all. We had it kind of digitally remastered. So this is ours, so there are no copyright infringencies, and I just think it's a nice clean look for moving forward with our shirts and
Yep.
uniforms
If
and
I might,
everything.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I think to answer your question, I think that if you approve this evening, that would be the natural next step that the committee would want to take with the new superintendent to discuss whether or not you want to bring uniformity to all of your other areas, your documents and letterhead and other things that may have the logo. Particularly as you're moving forward also for the large sign out front, whether you, and also anything else like a scoreboard, you want to know whether you want that to be the same.
Yes, Mrs. Griffin.
So if at some point we are moving away from the pirates wording, pirate, whatever, the wording has pirates in the middle of the O, so is that something we have to be concerned about?
The proposal is not to move away from pirates. It's just to have a non-gender specific representation of pirates.
The word instead of the picture,
Right. Because it's clearly.
the name.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Nugent? I thank you. I think it's great. I really like the look. I think it's really good. So we do need to take a vote.
I'll make a motion that we accept the artwork for the center basketball court.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Real quick, I get funding on that. It's already been, you guys already have.
Through
it?
capital.
The capital.
Yep.
Before,
Okay.
it's more the timing.
Right.
Because they've started the project, right, Justin?
Correct.
Yep, and after the meeting, if anyone wants to go and take a look at
Yeah.
the blank the canvas, we can certainly go take a look at that too. It's pretty neat
Yeah.
to have hardwood floors like that in my house.
All right.
This is like your second one.
Yes.
All right. We have a motion, a second call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Ford?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. 5 yes.
Thank you.
Everyone knows. Thank you, Dave. Head nurse, Amy Grenett, end of the year update. Come on up, Amy. Welcome.
Good evening.
Oh, yeah.
Feels weird sitting up here without a mask on. Feels good.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving an update, COVID update, really what happened this year, where we stand at the end of the year. We were well below districts around us, which we were really pleased about. Total number of students and staff, 69. 54 of them students, 15 staff. We had probably 200 or more quarantined students and staff over the year. Some of them we had quarantined, some of them, parents called in, has quarantined because somebody at home is, and fully remote students somewhere in the 20s, mid-20s. We, during the year, started, towards April, started pool testing, which went well. We did have one positive pool. We had about 300 pools testing 2,100, which resulted in about 2,100 tests, over 300 participants. So not really the numbers that would make it worthwhile to continue, but going into next year and more information will be coming out this summer. We can discuss partnerships with, I think, more information, and I think Dr. Nash can speak to this as well, will be coming out in regards to other types of testing, diagnostic, symptomatic, surveillance testing, and pool testing. But that's information that will come on out this summer. So we don't know what it's going to look like. We do know the restrictions will be lifted. So there won't be masks, there won't be social distancing, but there will be some level of contact tracing because, obviously the health is still, the health risk is still there. So there will be not necessarily quarantining people, but letting parents know, your son or daughter may have been exposed. So that will definitely be challenging in terms of how we're going to contact trace. But I think going forward, the more people that are vaccinated, and right now, it would be nice if the numbers kind of stayed this way. I know in town, they're doing the contact tracing, it's been very minimal. So we're hoping that that's the trend that continues. As far as the remainder of this summer, we are having summer programs, and the mask mandate is lifted indoors. They are recommending, but not requiring masks. There are summer programs, sports programs that I would probably, if not, I'd make a recommendation to not wear a mask. For those of you who have kids that have been in that gym, when it's really warm, it's really warm, so I don't know about running around playing basketball with a mask on in the gym. But other things, the state guidance is still recommending anyone that's unvaccinated to wear a mask. Again, that's recommending, not requiring. So, I guess we'll have more information coming out in regards to that testing or the partnerships that will come out for, the testing. We have had many issues, and I know not just our district, most districts that have pool testing had issues with the vendors, the housing consent, changing the consent, changing the format. And I know that we had to send a couple links out, and it was a little confusing. Some vendors merged, so it made it even more difficult because now who are we speaking with? So I think, once we get more info, we'll be able to, to get consent. And if somebody is showing symptoms, that would be a good time to test them in school. So that would require, us to have that extra somebody bouncing around and doing those tests. Surveillance testing for situations where there's a grade or a class or a building that is showing, lots of COVID or popping up. We can do surveillance testing as well. So, but that's all up in the air. Yeah, definitely for another meeting. So the fall, I'm interested in and hoping that it continues to decline down.
Just if I could add a couple of points. As you know, the pool testing was paid for totally by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. That initially was not going to be paid for through the remainder of this school year, but that change did take place. We do not know yet whether districts will be bearing any of these additional costs. We'll have more information from DESE probably in midsummer or so as to a particular vendor, an RFP that will be sent out from DESE, looking for a vendor who can basically, or a series of vendors, handle all of the types of tests that you might do, surveillance, diagnostic, pool testing. So there could be a cost being borne by districts that choose to do that. The other piece that Amy and I talked a little bit about was the fact that at this point in time, there is no mandate that students or staff must be vaccinated to return to school. Question that some districts asked of the commissioner, who indicated that they would be getting a legal opinion, but his best guess is that there will not be any type of mandate. We'll strongly encourage our students, particularly as the vaccine becomes more prevalent for younger age students, to be vaccinated, and certainly our staff, but he doubts very highly that there will be any kind of a state mandate, or whether it's even legal, I think is the bigger issue. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but we were well below, I think Amy had pointed out, the overall districts who were similar in size to us. And I think we believe it's partly due to the fact of our model, which was a 4-1. I think anecdotally, I know that you spoke with some of the other head nurses who might have had similar models that we had and found to be some similarity in lower reports. So thank Amy for that, because I remember we were sitting in this room, all of us as the administrative team, toying with the different models, having that discussion, and it really was you at the table bringing that forward to us. So that was, I think we all said, oh my goodness, thank you. That makes sense to us from a medical perspective anyway.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Burke?
Yeah. Amy, first, thank you. I mean, I know what your team has done. I know, especially in your position, the work that you had to do to keep those numbers where they were at.
Thank you.
Everything you did throughout the year. And I think to Dr. Nash too, just the communication went out to the town throughout the year was outstanding. So I guess my request is that we continue that, Mr. Lucas, through the summer. I think I've heard from a number of parents who are still waiting to make a decision on sending kids back to school based on masks, no masks, requirements on vaccines. Okay. So I think on either side of that argument, just the more information they have, the better they can make a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. As new information comes out,
right.
Yeah, we'll be sharing that for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Forbes.
Dr. Nash, you totally stole my thunder there. I did want to say, I know that it was you who brought forth that 4 days in, 10 days out, essentially. I hated it as a parent.
I know.
Honestly, when I first started, it ended up working out fine. But I do appreciate that you brought that forward. It was the smartest, best decision. And I totally credit you for the low numbers. I mean, I know you don't work alone, but
no, I definitely don't work alone. The other nurses are, I mean, we have right now in the history of this district, I think we have a dream team of nurses. Nice. I'm so happy with the team we have. Yeah.
Wonderful. So thanks again for all your extra
thank you.
Attention.
Great, thank you.
Anybody, any other comments? Just really, I mean, I can't say thank you, Amy. Everyone said it.
Right.
Thank you. Great job to the team. Just a point of clarification, probably through Dr. Nash. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think we should probably get it on the record publicly. As a district, we are not. It's totally a recommendation and not a mandate. But we're not going to allow individual staff members who are either having a group or a class or a team require kids to wear masks. As a district, it is totally their choice if they want to wear it or not. It's right based on the recommendations, just so that we're clear.
Yes,
So that we don't have one person or two people who say, no, in my class or in my room, masks are on. No, we're,
We
as a
indicated,
district, we're going by,
we completed,
recommendation.
right, we completed the year with, obviously with mask, and then in our meeting last week, we were discussing these summer programs. We were very clear in saying that it's optional. It's not a requirement, and there are certainly times when one might suggest it, but we're not required
okay, as long as that's, okay,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
fine.
for any of the
That's-
summer programs that we're running.
Correct.
Good point.
Mr. Swartz?
Just one quick question about the summer program and the nursing staff, because
Yeah.
I was visualizing the gym, hot, sweaty, and mask.
Mhm.
Do we have a nurse in every program, one that travels, what do we do for the
You
summer?
want to
So, yeah, so this is, right. Right now, we cover for the special ed program.
Right.
So there's a nurse housed at Clara Barton that is going to be kind of bouncing around to all the schools, kind of an on-call. I do know that the other nurses, between Kathy, Jess, I know I frequently come in. I will have to come in anyway to sign sports forms and physicals and things like that. But yeah, so there will be somebody really on call, but it's in that time frame. It's 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay.
So if there's a Monday or a Friday, yeah, correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you.
All right,
for that.
thank you.
All right, business office, Mr. Ledoux.
Alrighty. Thank you, Mr. Canigioli, members of the committee. A piece of unfinished business from last meeting. We did not receive the bid results for food service items in time for you folks to award those bids. So now I'm just bringing that before you. We received the bids for milk and dairy, bread and rolls, paper goods, as well as frozen foods. I did quickly review the prices as compared to last year, what we received, and I did see some slight increases across the board. I don't feel as though it's anything to be, that concerned about. The one item that is probably the highest demand is milk. It's about a 5-cent difference per milk, which I thought was substantial when you're going through, thousands per year. However, this is something I could work with the food service director on. I wouldn't recommend changing anything at this time. As is my understanding, USDA will be continuing the program for free meals throughout next school year as well. I'll have more information on that as we get closer to reopening for next year. But that was the one item I did want to bring to the committee's attention. At this time, I'd ask the committee to award the bids as received through French River. And I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Mr. Ledoux? Seeing and hearing none, we do need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the bids as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Just add discussion. I'll open it quick again for discussion.
The price of milk is crazy everywhere by the gallon, so I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it seems like more than $1 higher at all the stores around. I don't know why. But yeah, so I mean, that's not surprising at all.
Just one comment. The good thing about this is it reduces the volatility of the market. So we kind of lock into that price. So I know it'll be that price for the year. It's not going to fluctuate, so that's good for budgeting purposes.
All right, any other comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. Ms. Cook? Mrs. Ford?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin? Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5 yes. District sign update, still you, Mr. Luke.
Thank you. This is an item I've brought to the committee multiple times, but I just wanted to provide an update. The administrators at the high school did poll former students as well as some of the class advisors for their, what they would like for a design. I did include the correspondence and what I had received from those folks. So it looks like Serato signs. The design that they had provided, which is it's just plain black. I believe they call it a pylon. So it's a plain black pylon that holds an LED screen. So this LED screen, I think, is 3 by 7, 3 feet by 7 feet. And it'll be double-sided, just to give you a little bit of information on the actual LED sign. I tried to provide as much concrete information as I have at the time, as there's a lot of moving parts to coordinating this install. Just to kind of put in perspective, for example, the scoreboard's very simple. We already have electricity ran out there. Simple as taking the old one down, putting a new one up. This is a little bit different, though. This, obviously, there's certain bylaws we have to abide by. Even though we're exempt from the historical district and not having LED signs, there's certain, we have to be a little bit more mindful when installing a sign like this. The other hurdle that I have is coordinating between departments. As you can see, my correspondence with the PD, there's 3 trees out there. The middle tree is slated to be removed at some point. And it'd be foolish to install a brand new sign right next to a tree that's going to be taken down, as that would make everybody's life kind of miserable. Similarly, I do have to coordinate the install with the DPW, as the former director had volunteered to dig a little bit of a spot for a foundation and pour concrete with some lag bolts for us to connect the sign. However, he has left since, so I did have to bring in the new director to update him and make sure that they were on board with the sign installation. So far so good. They're on board with assisting with the install. Also, there's a sewer pump out front. It looks like a large generator. We do have to dig a trench and have electricity ran to the sign. As the current sign that's out there doesn't have electricity. So there's just a couple other additional things as far as coordinating the efforts for the install. So I guess the point is, I wish I could give you a timeline as to when it's going to go in. But there's a couple things we need to figure out first before we install it. But I did want to bring to the committee at least the design and solicit any input or any questions that the committee might have.
Yes, Mrs. Forbes?
Just a question about Sergeant Granette's letter here about the placement of the sign.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to work for us? I see this is dated back in February, so I'm assuming that this is all part of the plan. This is including the 3 to 4 feet farther back and north.
Yeah, so
Visibility pulling out of the driveway.
So a major concern was, first and foremost, when pulling out of Carbuncle Drive, we don't want to be blocking the line of sight in any of the directions. So people, students, staff, people can pull out safely. We certainly want to block that. So obviously, we consulted with the police station, and they recommended just moving it 3 to 4 feet back from Main Street, as well as slightly north. So it'll go back a little bit further from Carbuncle Drive, more centered in that spot, if I can envision it. And again, that's for safety purposes, really.
Right, so that brings me to my second question.
Mm-hmm.
How close is it now to the middle school sign?
The middle school sign, if you look out there, it's more in the middle island, so it's divided by the driveway.
Right, so it's going to be like sign, driveway, sign, kind of? Is it real close? Because I know we had talked about, do we really want 2 signs?
Mm-hmm.
So could we move it 6 feet north instead of 3 to 4? I don't know, I'm just asking, do we really want a sign, a driveway, a sign with the placement, and would that sign be sufficient for both schools?
Well,
Oxford Public Schools, I know,
no, it's okay. Ultimately, this sign was just going to be a message board, if you will, for the whole district. It wasn't going to designate this is the middle school, this is the high school. It was more to just replace the current Oxford High School sign and just simply be a message board. As you come down Carbuncle Drive, right out here, there is a sign designating Oxford High, and similarly, out front of the middle school, there's a sign designating Oxford Middle School. Dr. Nash actually did have the suggestion of putting up just a small a simple sign with an arrow. You might see them in town, the blue signs that just point where Oxford High School is. It's putting that on the corner right near there so people wouldn't get confused if they've never been to Oxford High. So that was kind of the idea of what we're going to do to kind of accomplish this. So we weren't going to remove the middle school sign. That was still going to stay, and I believe that's parallel to Main Street. So it's a little odd. It's not like you can see it really driving. However, this LED sign would be the opposite. It would be, so you can see it as you're coming up the road.
Well, I think, if I may, I think and correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Schwartz, I think what she's talking about is, would there be a need for the message board for the middle school if this sign is going up? That's really a message board. You could also do one of the blue signs saying this is Oxford Middle School here. That's a great idea for both schools. But I think that's what she's referring to. That sign just go now that you have this one electronic message.
I would definitely recommend
messages for all 4 schools, essentially, right?
Absolutely, I would recommend using it district-wide. Any elementary schools, middle school, any events going on. 'Cause it's a rotating LED.
Right.
So
that's what
street.
you're saying. Would
Yep.
that sign still have to be there if you remove that?
We really want that
So you
little
don't
sign
have
with
2
the
signs
plastic
now.
letters next to our beautiful new LED sign. I guess if I can say that out loud. No offense to current.
We can certainly remove it. That's a piece of cake to remove
Just a
it.
thought, we're
At this point in time, I would,
something.
yeah.
We're gonna put the blue sign to designate which school you're at, just food for thought. I don't know how the committee feels about it, opening a can of worms, I know. All right, moving it over though, really pushes it closer to the driveway, like you said.
I believe it should be centered, right where that middle tree is.
I'm not sure on my way out.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop meeting right now.
So at this point in time, I just wanted to identify the funding source. I know I've said this a few times. The classes of 2018, 19, and 20 have made donations, just over 11,000. Facility rentals, we're going to pick up the other 20,000 for the sign. DPW will be assisting with the installation. And that's all. So I guess as long as the committee is comfortable, I can certainly order the sign and we can get rolling on making arrangements to have it installed.
Yeah, I think we have a few more questions.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Cal.
The only other question that comes to my mind is the message center, and if you spoke to Mr. Phillips about, our technology that we have and how long that this will work with the board, and if, it's the newest, or if it's an outdated piece of software that we're purchasing to update the board. So,
I have not checked with Mr. Phillips on if, how relevant the software is, to be honest. It's my understanding it's a website, it's cloud-based and communicates through a broadband connection, similar to a cell phone, so.
it says it needs Wi-Fi, so I wonder how do you establish Wi-Fi if that's, assuming that's, I don't know if that's easy or not.
It'd be a broadband connection, so it's similar to, like I said, your cell phone, so they essentially have a cell phone 4G access in a device in the sign. That's how it communicates.
So is there a yearly, it says price is a 5-year manufacturing guarantee. Is there a yearly subscription or subscription every so many?
It's my understanding we get it for 5 years. It's included in the price for 5
It's
years.
included in the price, I believe, if I remember, for 5 years, and then there would be a
So what's the
cost.
cost after 5 years to continue?
Good question.
Typically, in setting up other devices, we have a governmental plan through Verizon. It's usually $49.99 for unlimited data.
I just wonder if it would be the same type of price tag here for the message center. So if we're gonna pay this every 5 years, that's something that will happen.
Well, are you referring to the 28.5?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's not, I can't, I mean, that's just for the actual
That's the
physical sign.
The 3x7 sign purchase.
It was broken out somewhere, it wasn't that expensive.
For most data plans, again, it's about $50 a month for the service.
Is that something you could just look into for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that we had it initially somewhere adjusted, and I thought, remember we were talking about that, it was a question I had asked, whether that was for the 5 years or whether it was for each year.
I will say it's not atypical. Just about every company we have looked at provided the same thing. It was the upfront 5 years through Verizon, and then after that, we'd have to pay a monthly fee.
Mrs. Griffin, anything else? Okay, thank you. Good question. We'll get that answered.
Well, the town is also getting a digital sign too, so maybe we can just buy one subscription. Food for thought. because that got approved at the town meeting, but they're gonna get the digital sign too, so maybe we don't need to do paper. Or split
I
it.
don't know.
Or split it. But again, I mean, for the town, one subscription might be okay.
Typically, it's per device. We'll look into it, though.
Anything else from the board? Yes, Mrs. Stowe.
Who updates the sign? Like, who would we go through to like, oh, you want your message or what would be?
That's a great question.
So, I'm sorry, there'll be one person at each school and one at central office that will be able to have an account to upload the sign.
Okay.
Or typically, sometimes, Mo, if you have a webmaster for the district, then they can just funnel all of that. But you want to make sure that what's there has been approved,
Yeah,
obviously,
that's,
at the building level. So we would probably begin, as Mr. Nuge has indicated, to have one person be the contact person in the building, if we have that ability.
Anything else? All right, Ms. Ledoux, I guess what can we do as a board to help this? Because it sounds like you get a couple things going on. Tree, trench, electricity. I know we're just leaving it open-ended, but I would like to identify a timeline. It would be amazing if we could get it for the start of the school year. I don't know if that's unrealistic. So what can we do as the board? I mean, me as the chair, is there something I could do to help expedite this? To get something in writing that says, all right, trees coming down July 8th, trenches coming on the 15th, electricity, like, I really think we need to have a plan, and if there's anything I can do to help, as the chairman of the school committee, I'd like to do that.
Certainly, thank you. At this time, again, just more coordinating the efforts with DPW, getting the tree warden, take down that tree. And again, I'm really at their mercy, so once I can get a timeline from them, I can, provide that and go from there. But I'll certainly take you up on that.
Yeah.
If anything
let me
comes
know.
up along the way,
I
that's
think we
great.
should, I would just like to get something. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this in public meeting. I've been waiting for like 2 years to get some trees down that are dead.
Got it.
The town's supposed to take down. So,
Yep.
like, I just don't, we really need to have a plan. I appreciate all your efforts. I know it's a little bit out of your control, but I think as a board, we might be able to help get some of that, at least a timeline established. And I get it if we don't meet the timeline, that's, but at least if we have something, tree, trench, electricity.
I could certainly report back with a timeline once I have some things solidified. Again, my best guess is we would love to have it done for end of summer for the start of school, and we'll
Okay.
try to make that happen.
All right, well, let me know. So,
Okay.
Let me know what I can do. Anything else from the board? All right, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin.
We need to approve this.
No, just an update.
Right.
Just an update. It's already approved, everything's,
I didn't know if we had to approve the look at this, because I don't remember approving the final design.
I know you had said something about ordering it, but we don't have, you've ordered it, you will order it, we don't, I'm sorry, I guess we have.
No, it's okay. No, I have not ordered this yet. I wanted to bring it back before the committee, just to provide an update before I did anything.
All right. So what is it that you're ordering? What we have in our packet, essentially?
Yes, that sign. The sign with the 2 LED screens, the pylon, and ordering the services for them to come install their piece of it. Again, but a couple things need to be done before the company can come out and install it. So it's a lot of, I just have to make arrangements.
We've already approved.
We
the sign.
approved, like, yeah, we approved.
Yeah.
So, do we need to make a motion to have Justin order the sign? If so, I'd like
I
to make a
don't-
motion.
I would defer to Helen, I don't think we have, I think it's.
I think you
we
approved the
funding
sign.
of the
I think it was just really an update, yes. You approved the funding, and you also approved the actual sign concept. I think the question that we had was whether it would say Office of Public Schools, or whether it would indicate just one school, that type of thing.
All right, I think we're good, Justin. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thanks, you're good.
All right, Dr. Nash, District Learning Recovery and Acceleration Draft Summer Program
Program
Proposals.
proposal. Long
Yeah,
title.
long title.
Right,
Your last long official, not long, your last official.
right, not long is right. So as the committee will note in your district accelerated recovery and accelerated plan that we proposed to you and you voted on at June 14th meeting, we also included our interest survey, summer programs interest survey that we put out to families, and indicated that we would come back to you this evening with draft proposals of some of the offerings that we would feel comfortable in moving forward. One in that we have commitments from our staff and some outsiders for people to provide these programs. And then, given your approval this evening, the building principals will then go out and solicit, of course, and put out and look for students who might want to take us up on these programs. These are free of charge. There's no cost other than you show up. So I'm going to turn it over this evening to the principals just to briefly comment. You have a booklet that includes all of the draft proposals. They range from social emotional well-being to physical well-being to activity-based to some academics. The surveys that we received back from our parents, while it was not a large response, it certainly indicated that the majority of our parents, I think 63% who responded, were looking for activity-based and 81% physical types of outdoor games, sports, and so forth. So I think a lot of this was based on those surveys, but there were also some other very unique offerings. So I certainly can open it up to the principals, however you'd like to approach this, or any questions you might have. They're here this evening, I think.
I would say, I'll speak for the board here, unless we have specific questions. It's amazing that you four are here in the summer. So thank you for that. Do we have any specific questions for, just general questions? And if we have any specific, we can pull someone up. Yeah, Ms. Flores, yeah.
Do we already have the people who are planning on supporting these?
So I guess, do we want to go through you, or should we pull it up individually?
They can answer it. In general, I think yes.
Okay.
They did not put anything together unless they were aware.
Bottom line is, I know on yours it doesn't say, but what you see was basically submitted by the person that was interested in running the class. So.
Okay, perfect. So,
Yes,
I figured, I just wanted to be clear.
Yes.
The adults in my building that will have the high school kids working with the younger kids have those students in mind, but we'll wait for the proof to reach out to those students.
All right, so just for clarification, because I tried to be nice to my fellow colleagues and the principalships, not having them come up, just in case people didn't hear at home. The positions, of all these positions, it appears that all the principals have people earmarked for them. Those people came forward with these classes that they want to offer, correct? So we're looking like we're fully staffed, and now it's just getting participants, correct? All right, great. Mrs. Griffin.
I just noticed offerings at the high school. I think all these offerings are phenomenal, but I noticed the grades were not necessarily high school age grades. Some of them went into the middle school, which I think is awesome too, because it extends the opportunities to more of our students. I was just wondering if we get a mixture of some young and older students, is there going to be a way to kind of break those groups up? So, like I'm noticing, for example, baseball fundamentals or something like that, or it would be a lot different, I'm assuming.
Mr. Nugent, why don't you just come up?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I tried. I think the question is, you have some like grades 4 to 6 and then 6 to 11. How are you going to break those up? That type of.
Right, so we're going to have the 11th graders pitch to the 4th group now. So it like a traditional camp, it will be broken up. Or the older kids, supervised by the coaches, will work with the younger kids. Because we have our academic program, we also have our yearly sports camps going. So just the broad range out there, we get more people to participate in what we're doing. But yes, they'll be safely.
And these are, again, proposals, so it would be based on level of interest the parents and students demonstrate. So not all of these potentially will run, but we certainly want to try to offer as many as we can.
I guess, is there a minimum number then that you're looking for?
We really did not set a minimum number, partly because we know that we have grant funding, so we want to try to offer what would make sense based on the activity or whatever is happening, obviously. However the course is designed, it may not make sense to run some of the 2. But in other cases, it may be okay if you had less than 5.
And, quasi-selfishly, it's a great way for the high school to advertise what we have to offer for students. I know the big thing is we want to keep our 8th grade, so we're using that as an opportunity to show everyone what we can do.
Yep.
That's why we want our high school kids involved. working with the younger kids.
Mr. Burke, question?
So Dave, that's, I guess to my question, for all the programs, is this open just to current Oxford Public School students or any Oxford child who fits this age range?
Okay, so I'm going to casually look to my left to the superintendent. I thought it would be just for
It's
Oxford.
open to Oxford Public School
Currently
students to
enrolled in
attend.
Oxford.
Right. If there always is some interest, although I hate, it's my personal feeling, to exclude someone who is a resident whose child may not attend our schools. But I think initially we want to see if we get an interest from our students, and then I'm not adverse to opening it up to all.
I guess I would question people who are homeschooling their children,
Mhm.
if they wanted them to play sports.
Sure.
for
They can
Oxford,
play sports,
Sure.
that's
play
certainly.
sports for Oxford High School.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yes,
Homeschool,
that's why
absolutely.
we probably won't get a lot, who knows
Right.
what we're
Yeah.
gonna get, but I certainly think that we should try to be as broad-based as we can.
Yes, Mr. Griffin.
Can we post this at like the community center and at the library, different places, so the word gets out?
So I guess where is it being advertised?
Well, if you approve it this evening, they're gonna be sending out, if they haven't already, in anticipation, and I'm sure email blasts and that to all the parents. That's gonna be their most direct avenue, but we certainly can post it in other places. But I think they're gonna get probably the best response just via their emails to parents, to blast parents. We certainly can try other avenues.
For the older students, they'll get emails too, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll do parents and students.
Yeah, so you'll
I'm
get
sure you will too.
kids talking about it.
Anything else from the board? Yes, Mrs. Griffin.
So one last thing, like if any of this is falling during the time of lunch hours and whatnot, I'm assuming we still have our summer lunch program.
That's right.
Would there be some way that this program and our summer lunch program can be coordinated so parents, get the kids fed and feeded? I know that's a lot of work.
I mean, it's easy for me because it's here, so
Right.
I don't want to speak for my
Right.
colleagues.
So typically, they pick up one site location.
Right.
And that's been the challenge, because I know that we've had some conversation, or Justin has had, about distributing it at another location. Justin, do we know? I know you were talking with Orchard Hill a little bit about
Yeah, so at this point in time,
the ability to distribute or have pick.
parents and students may pick up at Oxford High School. As simple as that. We don't have multiple sites. The only site we have approved right now is for Oxford High. And we don't have the ability to deliver. We don't have a refrigerated vehicle. So that's really the biggest reason why we can't deliver like that. However, anybody ages 2 to 18 can come pick up free grab and go between 9 to 11 at Oxford High. Monday through Friday, and that's through August 13th.
Yes.
So is there like a Google form on our district website where parents put in, I want to order X amount of lunches, so they know what needs to prep?
We still do. Can you come up to the desk? I'm sorry. And maybe just repeat because I'm not sure what that boom mic can pick up. Can you just repeat about the summer lunch program?
Certainly.
Just set up there.
From 9 to 11, Monday through Friday at Oxford High. Right at the front entrance here. Lunches will be available free of charge to any Oxford residents ages 2 to 18. Again, the program runs through August 13th. So I know a lot of the schools are running individual programs, but at any point between 9 to 11, if somebody wants to pick up some grab and go meals, they're perfectly free right at front door. We're not running multiple sites at each school. We have had a lot of conversations about that, as we have Educare going on at Chafee, summer school at Barton. Because we're not approved to run it at multiple sites, unfortunately, it has to be located at Oxford High. But again, anybody's more than welcome to come pick up between those hours.
What's the sign-up process? I think that was instructions.
Oh, so excuse me. You don't have to order ahead of time. There is a menu online as what's available. Again, the idea is to just show up, grab and go, just pick it up. If if we're gonna have a large volume of, I'm talking like a lot, a whole summer camp or something like that, I mean, somebody would have to reach out to us and just make arrangements, just give us a heads up so we can prepare enough meals for that day. So far, we haven't seen that greater participation, but as these programs get going, I know Community Center, I believe that just started this week. Educare has already been going.
Just started today.
Again, I just asked that, maybe just give there is a phone number. We did just place an ad in the paper today to call 508-987-6056. If there's any special needs, or I said that wrong. If there's any dietary restrictions, or if there's a large volume, we just ask that people just let us know. If there's a large
Just if
volume.
a parent was going to pick up a meal here and knew that they had their neighbor's friends and they were dropping off, could they pick up more than one? Is there any requirement where they have to show an ID and they can only pick up for their children? Could they pick up for other children that were?
No, they could pick up for others.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can speak to that if I may.
Go ahead.
There is a parent actually in town who was coming, picking up
Right.
like 10 and delivering because the hours of pickup
Right.
didn't necessarily meet the
Right.
hours of me going to work or something like that. The other thing I just wanted to ask for clarification for people, last year I know on Fridays they did give you the option of getting meals for Saturday and Sunday. Will that still be available? You just let them know on Thursday. Tomorrow I'm picking up meals for the weekend. So instead of coming for one meal, or 1 day's worth of breakfast and lunch, if you had 2 children, you can actually get 6.
That's still true. That's the case.
Perfect.
So yeah, parents may pick up on Friday for Saturday and Sunday as well. So we'll do the whole weekend.
Thank you.
So I just feel like the people who might be watching, the limited that might be out there watching, it just seems to be this, we understand this potential free meals, but it feels like there's lots of information just thrown. Is there like a snippet that can go home, like in those email blasts, just a real quick thing about some of our meals and kind of just what it looks like? Kind of maybe
Absolutely, we can send something.
just something that's a little bit more. I mean, I can't imagine that the food service people wouldn't want an idea each day of what they're looking at for volume, unless it's just grab and go bags that are easy to throw together. But it'd be good to have an idea of how many they have to
There was just
potentially make. That's all.
a Google form on our website that there is just,
And I don't know if we're going off the agenda here, and I'm not even sure if we should be. It's not even an agenda,
Yeah.
so I'm not even sure if we should be talking about it.
I think
But I just think to sum it up, just something that's going to tighten it up so people know exactly what's out there for them and how they might go about it.
We can certainly put something.
I think maybe one more comment.
one more comment. It's exactly the same as it was last summer. It's exactly the same. Nothing has changed. That was why I clarified the Friday for the weekend. So people who were participating, and I think it was roughly the same number daily. And the way they pack them, they have no problem with the changes, like you said, except for maybe a large group. But it's exactly the same program you offered last time.
Right, but I just think repeating it and getting it out to maybe new people who didn't know about it, that's all. So I know we went off a little bit there, I apologize for not being able to rein that in. Thank you, Mr. Ledoux.
Thank you.
Anything else, Dr. Nash?
No, just,
No. Do you need a motion? Hang on one sec, I apologize. Ms. Cook? Yep.
I noticed the community talking to post an option form where listen or parents turn to a law for information, so I don't know if that's something to be correct. I don't know how often they look at it, book something, just to get the word out there even more.
So is there a way to get this link of offerings so that somebody can post it, maybe one of us could post it onto the Oxford Residence Forum on
Oh,
Facebook?
the residents form, okay.
Yeah, so maybe if you could email the
Yeah.
link that has this PDF or whatever,
Okay.
you could, maybe would you do that?
I'll post
Okay.
it.
okay.
Molly can post that, that's a good idea.
All right, thank you, yeah, it is. The more, word of mouth or emails
Yeah,
or
the more
any,
places you can put it, the better.
any of the ways that we can do that would be great.
So it doesn't say on here that we have to approve this, but do we?
No, you don't. You knew it was part of, actually, we had said that
original,
it would be
right.
part of our original plan. It just was a matter of being prepared to present it to you, and we knew that we needed that extra time.
So any other questions regarding the summer school options? Okay. Moving down the agenda, we have a warrant report. Ms. Griffin.
So
So I have a warrant report for June 28th, 2021 this evening. I signed an accounts payable warrant dated June 22nd, 2021 for $474,124.82. A payroll warrant dated June 24th, 2021 for $189,765.02. And an accounts payable warrant dated June 29th, 2021 for $185,145.49. And that is all.
Thank you, Mrs. Griffin. All right, so we do have to take a vote on the appointment of the FY22 subcommittee appointments. We have to take them committee by committee. So do we have to read them all, Helen, into the record, or do I read
Should.
them in? Okay.
Yes.
So the policy subcommittee recommended membership, 2 school committee, 2 staff, 3 community. The school committee members, Palmina Griffin and myself, Dave Cadarchioli. Staff members, Valerie Doust, Ellen Racine Weatherwax. Parent community members, Leah Filipkowski, Debbie Amaral, Lisa Pavlonis, Kelly Kimball, Nicole Demaro, and Jacqueline Colon. Do we have any discussion regarding that committee? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion on the floor to approve that committee?
I make a motion to approve that committee.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5-0. You want to do the next one, Corey?
Sure.
Pass it to Corey for the next one.
Personnel negotiations, recommended membership, 2 school committee members, school business administrator, payroll personnel coordinator, town manager, or his or her designee. School committee members, Corey Burke and September Forbes, school business administrator, Justin Ledoux, payroll personnel coordinator, Ellen Racine Weatherwax, and town manager, Jennifer Callahan.
I make a motion to approve that committee.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion about that committee? Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes too, 5-0. School buildings and safety, recommended 2 school committee, school business administrator, town facilities maintenance director, school resource officer. The committee, school committee members, Dave Cadarchioli, myself, and Molly Cook. Business administrator, Justin Ledoux, town facilities director, Michael Lucas, and school resource officer, Sergeant Jeremy Grenett. Any discussion about that committee? Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes. We have to make a motion.
Oh, yeah, I'm way ahead, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve that committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now, discussion. Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Forbes? Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It's gotta be because it's like 90 up here. Is the AC on in this room or?
The
Not
District
after
Accountability and Curriculum Committee recommended membership, 2 school committee members, 2 staff, and 3 community members. School committee members, Palmina Griffin and Corey Burke, and the staff members and community members will be appointed if and when needed during the school year.
I make a motion to accept the committee of 2.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All right, any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, let's call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. You do the last one?
Want me to?
Yeah, sure.
That's a big. The Diversity, Equity, and Anti-Racism Committee recommended membership, 2 school committee members, town manager or designee, 1 board of selectmen, school resource officer, and at least 2 parents, 3 community members, 1 student, 2 staff, and 1 administrator. School committee members, September Forbes and Molly Cook, administrator Susan Hendershon. Staff members, Jamie Taborda, is I saying that right? Taborda. Sean Moriarty, Donna Greeno, Christy Elwood, Terry Ann Goronsky, Audrey Kennan, Megan Anderson, parent community members, Anna Dexter, Efrain Diaz, Cheryl Dion, MJ Johnson, Kenneth Davis, and Reverend Calimbrio. Help me there, Dr. Nash. Ujiri. Okay. Town manager Jennifer Callahan, school resource officer Sergeant Jeremy Grenett, Board of Selectmen Michael Daniels and students Ansay Patel and Amber Lyons.
I'll make a motion to accept.
All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
I second the motion.
All right, any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So thank you to all the school committee members, the Oxford Public School members, community members, and parents and students. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward this year to all these committees and really getting some good reports each and every meeting, and all the great work that's going to be happening within those groups. So thank you all for volunteering. Before I open it up to member comments, this is Dr. Christine Nash's last official school committee meeting in August, in this year. And as much as we've welcomed her for 2 different stints, I really hope for her sake she gets a chance to just retire and spend some time doing the things that she enjoys. But we just wanted to take a minute on behalf of the school committee. We got you a little gift. With the help of Helen. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your years of service. I'll save a few more comments to the end, but I know many people to my left have a lot of things they want to say. So I am going to open it up to member comments or requests. So we'll start with you, Ms. Cook. Everything from you.
Well, I was a former student, so I appreciate all your dedication then and now. So thank you for everything that you've done and enjoy your hopeful retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm an emotional mess. I'll skip that. I wrote it in the card. Happy 4th, safe 4th, everyone. Thank you.
I know, I feel the same way. It's very emotional to see you. I will forever be indebted to you. I think the whole town feels that way. You have gotten us through, obviously, this COVID fiasco that I thought, nobody could do better than you. It was just amazing. Our teachers felt 100% supported, and us as parents felt supported, and our children flourished, and the fact that you were able to pull us together and do that, not once but twice, is just a true testament to what a master teacher and administrator you are, and what a gift you have been to all of us. And I wish we could just keep you. I'm super excited that we have our new superintendent, don't get me wrong, but it's only once in a lifetime that you have such an opportunity to work with an individual like yourself, Dr. Nash. I don't know if we'll ever find such leadership again. It was quite a gift. So thank you for your dedication to all of us and your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Griffin. Anything else? All right,
No.
Mr. Burke.
I hate to be repetitive on these comments, but I think tonight warrants that. Thank you very much, Dr. Nash, for all your work. With tremendous amount of respect for you as a professional and also as a person, for everything you've done for the town of Oxford. Thank you.
Yeah, and your first go around in Oxford, I saw you from afar, but I could tell that you were a strong leader, very organized, very intelligent, a leader who had not only experience, but just the ability to step in. And a lot of times when you get an interim, you just get somebody who's just righting the ship and just kind of letting it float. But from afar, that first time, I could see that you were moving the district. And this second go around, we had, I think most of us were on this board at the time, we had a really difficult decision to make, a real difficult decision to make. And I think if we didn't make that decision, I really don't know where we would have been. And you came in the unprecedented, the most challenging time in education that anybody could ever be a part of, and we all did it. You came in and really took kind of a difficult situation and made it go really, really smooth. So I can't, on behalf of every stakeholder in the town of Oxford, we can't thank you enough I understand you're going on a trip, so we hope you have a great trip. We hope you enjoy some downtime. And I'm just gonna give you one bit of advice. Don't answer the phone or email from any district for like a year. Just give yourself a year of just being you, but we can't thank you enough. So thank you so much for everything you did, and good luck. And I know you and Mike will stay in touch for a little bit, for sure, to help the transition, so.
If I could
thank
just.
you. Yeah, absolutely, open the
few
floor to you,
comments.
sure.
First, again, thank you for your generous comments, but as you know, it does take a village, and you can't do this job by yourself. So I'm truly indebted to the leadership of my administrative team. Without them, it wouldn't be possible for me to be sitting here and for you to be giving me those accolades. And again, a community that has supported us. I could sit here and list all those individuals, but just to say that from day one when I returned, no matter who I called, whether it was a town official, whether it was a single building administrator, or the union president, I've gotten nothing but support. And so that has made me really, it's given me a great honor to be able to serve and to work here 2 times. It's very seldom in your career as an interim. And I've done a few others where you develop really what I call friendships, both a professional relationship, but also friendships with people, because they are really good, decent, hardworking people. And there really is no one in this community that I could say anything different about. So I've appreciated your support as a school committee, knowing none of us knew what we were getting into. And here we are. And I think number one has always been for me, and I've said this to all of the administrators on any of my teams, you always make the decision about what's best for students. If you can sleep at night if that decision is about what is in the best interest of students. I've tried to always do that, no matter what role I was in, but even more so when you sit here as a superintendent and you know the decision you make impacts so many. So again, from the bottom of my heart, I really thank everyone. And hopefully, you will not see me back again. I am extremely confident in working with Superintendent Lucas that he will take this district forward to even greater heights. So I thank you all.
Just a couple other quick things for my comments. I did want to pay recognition to Nick Packard. I know Nick is also leaving the district. He did have a few years with us as the data coordinator, but was also very actively involved in Educare and actually overseeing, I think, the program for several years. So it's really a great story of a graduate of the district and working his way up and now off to exciting things in Providence. So we just wanted to thank you, Nick, as well, and wish you good luck as you move forward in your career. Also, really excited to have Superintendent Lucas starting with us on Thursday, correct? Thursday, right? Yeah. First official day is Thursday, July 1. So really looking forward to having him come in with all his experience and his leadership, and really look forward to working with you. I know the board's excited to have you on board, so look forward to starting that work. And I've been thinking about how I wanted to say this, but this community was hit with a tremendous tragedy recently, and it did affect some members of the Oxford Public School System. So I just did want to send our deepest condolences to the students who were affected by this tragedy, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families, and we just hope that people can move forward and be supported. But our thoughts are with the families of that recent tragedy in Oxford. So that is it for me for member comments and requests. So future business, any topics for the future agenda, please get to me. Our next scheduled meeting is Monday, July 26th, 2021. That'll be the first meeting with Superintendent Lucas, usually a meeting that we do off-site, but it will be a public meeting. Is that how it
No, it's here.
It's here, we do it here?
Yep, it's a
Okay.
public meeting.
Okay, so we'll be a public meeting Monday the 26th. That is our next meeting. And need a motion to adjourn,
I'll make that motion.
unless there's any other comments.
Oh, I was gonna have Bonnie make the motion.
Oh,
No, you can do it.
I withdraw my motion.
I motion to adjourn.
all right, we have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second, any discussion? Call for the vote. Ms. Cook?
Yes.
Mrs. Ford?
Yes.
Mrs. Griffin? Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5-0. Have a great night, everybody.
All right, thank you.